And I'll make you co-host, sir. Thank you all for joining us to the Wooten Center's Parent Power Group Workshop. As you can see, my name is Rebecca Dabbs, and I am the COVID-19 health educator for the center. If you could just take a quick moment, can you please put your name in the chat box for a virtual check-in? We're going to be logging this information so we know how many people we've shared these great resources with, and also to share any information after the presentation with you all. Mr. Henderson does have some slides that he would like to share out. So if I could get you to pop your name in there, I'd appreciate it. Again, to our returning community members and new members, welcome. The Wooten Center is a nonprofit organization founded by Myrtle Rumpf in 1990 to honor her late son, who was tragically killed in a drive-by shooting. We provide free after-school and summer programs for students in grades 3 through 12 in the South Los Angeles area, as well as programs such as our Parent Power Group workshops to support their families. These workshops are presented in partnership with the Green Foundation and other donors, which I can put in the chat, but also can be found at www.wootencenter.org/donors. And as our COVID-19 health educator, I also want to share some information for you all on COVID-19 related resources. The County of Los Angeles has great resources on its website about how to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Getting tested if you feel like you've been exposed or if you're starting to have symptoms can help reduce the spread. Visit www.covid19lacounty.gov for more information and to learn how we can stop the spread of COVID-19 together. I will also share the link in the chat for your future reference.
And
additionally,
Rebecca,
yes, sir.
let me add real quickly, if I may.
Yes, sir.
COVID. Wayfinder, the agency that I'm representing, is having vaccinations on this Wednesday, April 7th. And there's still spaces available. So what I will do is, as soon as we finish, I will shoot Rebecca a registration email that she can send to everybody. But it's happening this Wednesday. It's the one-shot vaccine at our Wayfinder campus. And the campus is located off of Slauson. The intersection is Slauson and La Brea, just to give you kind of an idea about where we are. But it's this Wednesday, April 7th, and it's not too late to sign up.
Thank you, sir. I will be sharing that information with you all in a follow-up email after this presentation this evening. So thank you, sir. Additionally, if you need any additional COVID-19 related support services, one of our partners, the Green Foundation, is a great resource. Please reach out to them, give them a call at 323-229-3411 or email them at info@thegreenfoundation.net. I will also put those in the chat for your convenience. And like I said earlier, this is our Spring 2021 Parent Power Group Workshop. This is the 5th for this spring. These are free workshops, as you all know, available to parents, grandparents, guardians, or anyone who is in a supporting role for young children and teens. They are held on Monday evenings, 6 to 7, and registration can be found at www.wootencenter.org/events. For the entire month of April, we will be working on a series of workshops with Mr. Andrew Henderson titled Teaching Kids Responsibility and Discipline. So tonight, we're fortunate to have one of our returning speakers, Mr. Andrew Henderson. For over 20 years, Mr. Andrew Henderson was the Executive Director of Families for Children, Inc., and is currently Consulting Program Officer for FFC Spiritual and Behavioral Health Center. It is a behavioral health program operated by Families for Children. Mr. Henderson attended the University of California, Santa Cruz, where he received a bachelor's degree in economics in 1981. He attended California State University, Los Angeles, where he received an MS degree in counseling in 1998. Throughout his professional career, Mr. Henderson has been an advocate for youth and is credited with developing innovative programs to address this population. He created the Foster Youth Empowerment Workshop for Families for Children. The FWEW has a person-centered emotional and spiritual development program for TAY youth. The program consists of a 4-day curriculum-based workshop in Big Bear. The workshop has taught the 7 principles of resilience, engaged the youth in adventure-based counseling activities, and in the evening held communication forums where the youth were able to share incredible personal stories in an environment of trust and fellowship. He has a long and distinguished history of collaborating with public and private organizations to enhance the quality of life for youth and families. So with that, Mr. Henderson, thank you.
You can take a breath.
Okay. Let me stop sharing. Let me make you co-host and you have the floor, sir.
Okay. The PowerPoint, am I doing the PowerPoint?
If I could do the PowerPoint, I thought you.
Oh, that's what sharing meant. No, go ahead. Never mind. Let's change.
Let's change it up. Okay. We can pivot for sure. Okay. Let me do this and then I will pull it up and I will share it for you. And then if you could just give me the green light when you want me to swap the slides. Can you all see it?
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you. So I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, so about this slide, I'm currently a resource parent, a foster parent recruiter for Wayfinder Family Services. So if you've ever considered foster parenting, I am the person to talk to. I'd love to give you more information in an orientation. So if you're interested, you'll be getting a flyer after this where you can register for an orientation. You can go ahead, advance. Okay, so we're doing the ritual. So what is a ritual? Understanding the meaning and importance of rituals. The ritual of study and homework, and family rituals to encourage learning. So rituals are sometimes confused with habits, right? Where you do things in a repetitive manner, sometimes unconsciously. But they don't have much meaning. They are more of a reaction than they are an action event that has meaning. Rituals can specifically be designed or described as action events that have meaning. The next slide. So what is a ritual? Well, a ritual is a specific set or sequence of acts or behaviors that provide meaning and structure in our lives. Rituals are a central part of life. Rituals that are passed from one family or generation to another. Through rituals, families identify what is valued and provide a pathway for children to proceed into adulthood. And so rituals include day-to-day essentials, how one begins and ends the day, meal times, leaving home, and returning home. Now, when we talk about day-to-day essentials, right? Some folks have to have their coffee. Some folks like to pray. Some folks meditate. We have a variety of ways that we prepare ourselves that give our days peace. It launches us psychologically into making sure that if we have nothing else, at least we have a good start to our day in a way that allows for success as the day moves on. And then it also gives you the emotional starting point to handle the stresses that may occur that day. So day-to-day rituals are extraordinarily important. So actions that mark transitions, marriage, ceremonies, first communions, bar mitzvahs, funerals, starting school, graduation ceremonies, and entering college. And then family traditions such as Sunday dinner together, certain foods and activities during holiday celebrations, birthdays and anniversaries. And then are the coming of age rituals. So getting a driver's license, opening a savings or bank account, riding a bike to and from school. Then there are national rituals such as playing the national anthem at public events, fireworks on the 4th of July, decorating graves on Memorial Day, and then a source of emotional nourishment for individual, marital, family, and change rituals. Now, what you're seeing on this panel are pretty much what most of us do in our families, right? Now, as a young person, when you talk about coming of age rituals, right? And what kind of person you want what kind of adult you want your young person to be, celebrate these things. And I think that's forgotten oftentimes. We take it as routine that a child gets a driver's license, yay, opening a bank account, yay, riding a bike to and from school, yay. I would suggest that we celebrate those as more of a transition into a more mature state of being, kind of a launch into young adulthood. And so celebrate them as much as you can, but don't over celebrate. And so then we talked about the national rituals and the other things there. You can go ahead and change slides. And if you have any questions or just want to dive in with a comment, anytime along the way, please. So understanding the meaning and importance of rituals. Rituals provide meaning and structure for all individuals, regardless of the culture, ethnic background, the socioeconomic status, or the uniqueness of the individual life situation. All cultures, all churches, all families, all communities, and all schools are held together by their rituals. And rituals are a central part of our lives on a daily basis, yearly basis, or periodically as transitions in life are marked. Rituals also provide personal security required for daily living. Rituals are a planned, consistent use of time that makes the individual and family values visible. In rituals, there is a repetition of action and event. Two kinds of rituals are of particular importance. And before we move on, I'd like to just talk about children in out-of-home care. I mentioned earlier about my work in foster care. So many families in our community are working with foster children. And this is a core piece of building self-sufficiency, self-esteem, self-worth, motivation, because they come in as outsiders. Rituals can be that pathway to connecting to that family. So we can go to the next slide. So day-to-day essentials. So most individuals and families have developed a ritual for starting the morning to get the day started right. The creation of a specific pattern of behavior and the reinforcement of other family members being a part often overcome the initial opposition kids have to getting up and getting ready for school. Getting up, getting organized, having breakfast, and leaving the house provide daily rituals that are meaningful actions, often including symbols that express far more than words. So when and how family members greet each other at breakfast, where they sit, tells a lot about how people are connected within the family. Therapists and doctors state that the creation of evening rituals to end the day can be more effective than sleeping pills. Let me repeat that. Therapists and doctors state that the creation of evening rituals to end the day can be more effective than sleeping pills. A glass of warm milk before bed may be effective because it entails a simple, repetitive action at the end of the day, which signifies that the day is over and it is time to sleep. So let me comment on this last piece about the evening ritual. So it ties in directly to another, this training, it's a 4-module training called FAST, which stands for Families and Schools Together. There's one that talks about increasing your learner's ability to learn. And in that piece, they talk about the family meeting. And so the ritual and family meetings kind of go hand in hand. And together, it's a very strong, cohesive way to build cooperation in the family and to build connectedness. Okay, we can go ahead and change. So individual rituals. Well, some individuals need time alone to replenish their energy reserves, and now more than ever. For individuals needing time alone, stress increases dramatically when they are forced by circumstances to be with others at that time. A scheduled afternoon rest time is healthy and desirable for your child. Marriage rituals. So the marital relationship must be nourished apart from the children as well as with the children. Parents have a responsibility to themselves and to their children to model a healthy relationship that is visible and valued, one the children will want to emulate when they become adults. So to establish and maintain rituals to nourish the marriage gives children two important messages. Yes, the child are not the center of the universe. You, the child, are not the center of the universe. We, your parents, are important people and have needs apart from our parenting roles. This allows your child to develop their own roles apart from the family and to move towards independence. Find ways to take care of one's own needs, and adults have a responsibility to create rituals that address their own needs and the needs of others within the family. This tells the child that attending to one's own needs is an adult role that he or she will be expected to fulfill at some point. So obviously, this applies to both single and two-parent families. We can go to the next slide. So family rituals as a source of emotional nourishment, right? So family rituals provide children with a sense of belonging. Belonging to a family is an important building block to self-esteem in a child. Family rituals provide a boundary between our family and others' families. Regular family meetings, as discussed in previous presentations, are a way to recognize individual achievements, celebrate wins, and encourage reciprocal appreciation among family members. Change. Families experience different developmental levels, and family rituals must change as children grow. When rituals become rigid, they often lose their meaning and may become a source of friction rather than a source of satisfaction and belonging. Each change within a family provides an opportunity to review current rituals, talk about what has been and is meaningful about rituals, and create new rituals. So now here's where the rubber meets the road, the rituals of study and homework. One of the prevailing myths of education is that there is a right way for students to do homework. Research is clear that children learn in different ways, and that if a child does not study in a prescribed manner, it does not mean that he or she will not be successful or complete homework. Next. So the time of study for each child is different based on his or her unique learning preferences, and the place is different for each child. Consider these common variations. Many children study best in the presence of an adult, even if the adult is not actively helping them. Some children prefer to study early in the morning, especially if they have a test that day. They find it easier to remember things they study in the AM. Some children study best in an informal setting, preferring to sit in an easy chair or on their bed rather than in a straight chair at a desk. Some children learn better with soft music playing, shutting out other distracting noises. Some children prefer to curl up on a couch next to a soft light to read, but like a straight chair and desk when doing math. Other children may prefer different settings at different times, depending upon their mood, level of stress, temperature, familiarity with the content being studied, or other factors. So, what's important here is to understand the developmental process in children and their responsibility to explore independence. And this is what they're doing here. And something that challenges a lot of the traditionalists in us to, well, we were raised this way, or we did it this way, or this is what I expect, as opposed to, well, performance counts, period, end of story, right? The means to an end. Like, the ends don't necessarily justify the means, but in certain cases, they absolutely do. If your child is performing, that's what you want to see, which may not mean him sitting at a desk at 3:30 right after school before his snack doing his work. So just understand, we have to be flexible here. Next slide. So 6 significant study preferences. So we have persistence, refers to learners' willingness to stick with a task until it's completed. Posture. Preference identifies learners who prefer to work in an upright position at a desk or table versus learners that prefer a more relaxed posture, a sofa, upholstered chair, or bed. Mobility describes a learner's tendency to move about and take breaks while studying. Sound. Preferences refer to a learner's need for and reaction to quiet or moderate sound as a screen against other distractions. Lighting describes a learner's need for higher or lower levels of light. In study time, preferences derive from the natural rhythms of the body. Learners are more or less ready to learn depending on the time of day. Now, see, this is a lot of where some parents get into do as I say, not as I do, because I've come across, and I'm a little guilty of this, that I may need music to do certain things, or I may need some kind of distraction to focus, actually. Kind of counterintuitive, but it is. But then we expect our children to have no distractions, do it, that kind of thing. And then when you look at item number 6, study time, some of you may have heard of or are familiar with the circadian rhythms of nature. And in fact, there was a very large study, and some school districts have adopted, and Alberta, you may have heard a little bit about this, where they're starting school later because the developmental cycles and the circadian rhythm mean that adolescent children need the extra sleep. They don't perform their best early in the morning. Research has proven that later school time starting produces a more productive student. So that's something to keep in mind, although there's not much we can do about it in our strict structure now. But there is science out there that says the circadian rhythm piece is important in schools, and some schools are starting to recognize that. So next slide. So students who understand their learning styles and who exercise active control over their cognitive skills do better in school. They are better adjusted, have more positive attitudes towards learning, and achieve at a higher level than do their less skillful peers. Parents often ask the following questions about learning preferences. Well, at what age are most children's learning preferences formed? What if I have several children, each with a different learning preference? How can I accommodate all of them in a small house and maintain any semblance of family life? Let's find out. Next slide. Next slide. Here we go, thanks. So studying as a ritual. The ritual of studying is an important ritual to consider and is enacted daily in homes throughout the nation. It is suggested that all learners need a study time, not a homework time. Learners need a designated study time, whether or not they have homework to complete. The concept of study time is a regular ritual that can begin when the child is a toddler, with a quiet time for looking at books, doing puzzles, or having the parent read a story. Once the concept of a study ritual is institutionalized, the friction over homework becomes irrelevant. Let me read that again. Once the concept of study ritual is institutionalized, the friction over homework becomes irrelevant. And we can start at any age, but obviously the younger we start these things, the better. Next slide. So the importance of treating study as a ritual reinforces the following concepts for a child. Learning is important in our family, and we will attend to the task of learning each day of our lives. It helps if the parents also spend time reading or learning each day as a model for the children. We are less interested in enforcing homework than in knowing that you are growing up learning to be a lifelong learner and value learning. Learning is a valued ritual in our home, and as a member of this family, you are expected to participate in and carry on our family rituals. So even when it is inconvenient for you and for us, we will schedule and plan around study time because it is a high priority within our family. For those times when an interruption of the regular study ritual is unavoidable, another time will be scheduled. So we never not do it. We work around it. Okay, the next slide. So the needs of each child's study patterns may differ, and it's important for parents to take an active role in establishing expectations. So the following suggestions are provided as a tool for parents to use when considering how much structure and organization is needed. So remember that children must be taught organizational skills, even if they choose to disregard them during later developmental stages. So set up a home with clear structures and routines, which will provide the security necessary to learn and to develop positive self-esteem. Remember that you are striving to establish a sense of order and consistency, not a rigid or inflexible set of rules. Let me read that again. Remember that you are striving to establish a sense of order and consistency, not a rigid or inflexible set of rules. Try to retain a special study area in your child's room for organizing and storing study materials. There should be 4 areas for each learner, 1 each for sleeping, dressing, playing, and studying. Now, our homes have different sizes. They come in different sizes, have a different number of bedrooms and situations like that. So these don't have to be traditional areas like the dressing, playing, and studying. I mean, the study area can be a little corner of a den, a corner of a living room. So wherever you can designate these areas, because the importance here is to have your child understand structure, 1, and 2, invest in creating the structure themselves. So they're partners in this, which they will be more inclined at that point to respect that and to follow through. So you involve your child in organizing each area. You have your child maintain the organization with a scheduled time to pick up and put away. Next slide. So family rituals to encourage learning. Well, family rituals are typically acquired over time, often with little planning or forethought. Rituals may evolve, may be continued from families of origin, or may be adopted from one's culture or community. Rituals clearly identify for children what is important to the family. So the following elements are suggested as consideration in establishing learning rituals. Let's go to the next slide. Time and place. So rituals should be planned to occur at specific times and in specific places. So meal times, if a family eats together at specific times each day, family members may fall into a pattern of discussing what happened during the day at school and work. Family meetings, weekly family meetings, have been used successfully by many families as a time to discuss issues and plan together. Next slide. So membership, a sense of belonging is created when a child is able to contribute to the family and is appreciated for his or her contribution. Helping to plan the recognition of a sibling's achievement contributes to the sense of belonging and also encourages a child's desire to achieve and receive recognition. Rebecca, can you go back a slide? And I think you were probably wondering why I didn't spend time on this. I know, the family meetings, yes. The single most important thing any family can do, I find, that's just my experience, It's an enormously powerful event that can empower children to communicate. It can empower children to feel a part of something very important. It's a way to break the communication barriers that may be occurring at intermittent times throughout family interactions. That's just, I can't express how powerful the family meetings can be. And as I said, I hope you guys come to, I think that's session 1 that talks about the importance of family meetings. We can move on to the other slide. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, so utilizing differences. So family rituals should be planned to recognize individual differences in learning. A ritual can be used to encourage your child to contribute through his or her unique abilities. For example, creating a family game around learning, performing a skit, or drawing a picture can be contributed by the child to increase family participation. Next slide. Next, okay. Here we go. Not valued enough. Too many assumptions are made about repetition, right? Meaning that, especially as adults, many of us are professionals, or some of us have been to trainings where, okay, I got it, but then I leave the training and I forgot 90% of what was done. And that's everybody. So affirmations, repetition, that is so essential to making sure we stay on the right path at every stage of life. So ideally, rituals will become a regular part of the family's routine through repetition. So daily, weekly, or monthly rituals can be augmented by special occasion rituals such as at grade time, graduations, or for achievement in special events such as school, plays, events, or parent recognition at PTA awards. Next. Giving and receiving. Each family member must be allowed to both give and receive. As part of the family rituals, even the youngest family member can be a part of the rituals. Never too young to start this. This is so important in building moral character, so important in making children aware of things beyond themselves. Growing up as a caring individual, so many of our children, especially in our urban communities, especially in some of our public schools, don't get enough of these opportunities, right? So much is oftentimes, I mean, it might be counterintuitive, but are given a lot of things. It may not seem like in poverty they get a lot, but yes, the whole child welfare and social service institution is about giving children something with little expectation from the children. That does not build character. It does not build quality adults. So make sure we teach our children the value of giving. And I think we recognize, and again, it's an injustice to not teach children this because many of us know how we feel when we give, right? Why deny the children that feeling? And that feeling occurs at a very young age. So family debates on current affairs, when carefully planned to prevent a winner and loser orientation, are stimulating and can be used to teach values and new ideas. Wow, this is a powerful slide. So reinforcements, rituals should be used to catch a child doing something right. Regardless of the problems which may occur in a child's learning, there is always something positive which can be reinforced. So reinforcement strategies can be used to increase positive behaviors, maintain new learning behaviors, encourage children to generalize learning to new situations, and to reduce or replace non-productive behaviors. Expressing interest, commitment, and enthusiasm for their own and their children's learning by parents is perhaps the most potent reinforcer of all. When we talk about reinforcers, that's part of behavior modification as well. rewarding for good behavior, not rewarding for negative behaviors, encouraging replacement of bad behaviors. So the reinforcements not only apply from the ritual establishment perspective, but they also apply in the behavior modification and behavior management piece as well. So reinforcement is a huge part of our family management systems. Next slide. So family celebration. So families can create wonderful rituals to celebrate success. Small successes are important as well as milestone achievements. Using family rituals to celebrate encourages children to value themselves and others. Creating a family trophy that is passed from one family member to another is one form of celebration. So the other slide, the previous slide talked about reinforcements, right? I just thought about a story with my son. So back, he's 32 or 3. Anyway, the guy is up there. So when he was a kid, right, all these video games were out. So I'd say, Daniel, I'm not going to get you on. Let me see how you're doing in school before I get you this video game, right? And so I would base purchasing video games on his grades, which was a problem for me. Straight A's, most of his school, we were just so blessed with our children. And so I ended up spoiling the guy, right? My wife got after me all the time, but it worked out fine. But that's an extreme case where our kids responded to that. But just to show you that reinforcements can really, really work. What's important is to find, when using reinforcements, is to find out what the children respond to. Not anything that's going to break the bank. It could be extra time doing something. It could be a meal. It could be, so you work out what's affordable and appropriate, because what you don't want to do is buy or do something that you think is valuable, but the child does not enjoy. So make sure that anything you talk about when you do reinforcements is something that's mutually agreed on. Okay, we can go past this slide now. Okay, so that is it for me. This is a Q&A time. That was rather quick. I hope that you were able to digest, if not all, but most of what was presented today. So any questions, any comments?
Yes, hi. I do have a question. What do you do with your children while they're studying and, they tend to go back and forth to other websites and go, how do you keep them just to maintain just the study time and opposed to going back and forth?
I don't think so.
There's a lot. That comes from Doris, right, Ms. Williams? Is that you who asked the question? Yeah. Okay. So obviously, this presentation.
Can you put in your full name?
I'm listening to that.
Oh, okay.
Can we be on mute maybe a little bit, somebody?
That's Trina.
Okay. This presentation is about 90 years old. I'm kidding, but before the times of the internet, right? So let's just break it down. So we have our family meetings, right? You saw that mentioned here. So Ms. Williams, in the family meeting, part of the discussion, it's an open and honest discussion where you guys talk about this. Your concern is that the internet is distracting and they're not getting their homework complete. So is this reflected in grades or is this just something you suspect? So you have proof, right? Okay. So let's talk about the internet challenge. And as much as we hate to do this, sometimes technology backs us in this corner. So let's figure out a way to reinforce performance during homework that gets them off the internet. So is this your daughter or your son? Your daughter, okay? So let's figure out what—
my granddaughter. It's my granddaughter.
Your granddaughter. let's figure out some of the things your granddaughter likes to do, or something that she's seen that she wants, right? That you approve of, by the way, Miss Williams. That's important. You have to approve of what she wants. So, okay, so let's say she is on this, she's doing her homework Monday. And so after the family meeting, you decide, well, if you complete your homework assignments this week without distractions, this is the reinforcement you'll get, right? So start establishing some incentive for your granddaughter not to be online. Because telling them no, 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 no is obviously not working. And all we can do is kind of mix and match and try to different things to see if they work. Because if your granddaughter is even attempting to do homework, says that she is on the right track, right? You're not telling me that she's refusing to do any homework. Is this? No, she's there doing it, but she's like every young person on the planet is distracted by the tech. So in your family meetings, talk about non-tech time. Talk about the importance of performance in the future. And you do it at the family meetings, Ms. Williams, because that's the time that the family recognizes this discussion takes place. Your granddaughter can say anything she wants without being punished by adults. You know, she has to be appropriate, but this is her time to express. So we're having these open conversations. She's getting a chance to express how she feels. And then we mutually, because she's getting a chance to express how she feels, she's being acknowledged as a contributor to the family, as a person of value. And that will also incline her to be more cooperative about rules. So you say, I'm not completely taking you off your tech, but this time during homework is important. We can't, let's agree that we can't do the tech during homework. And if you don't, then this is what happens in terms of a reinforcement at the end of the week. If I find that you have 100% homework completion, well, here's $5 towards that dress or whatever you want, you know, whatever you guys work out. So that's a long answer, but hey, I hope it gives you some food for thought.
That's a good answer. That's good. Yeah, that $5 at the end of the week, that probably will work for her.
Well, I get it too, because it was my suggestion. Okay.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, Ms. Williams. Now, I'm not the expert here necessarily, so if anyone has any other suggestions for Ms. Williams, please dive in.
There were actually a few comments on the chat.
Okay.
Rachel's was, we will start using that in our household. I think our kids would be encouraged by this. And then Lori said, celebrating and debating are good ways to structure needs that encourage involvement and belonging while learning.
Lovely. Absolutely. You know, if you guys want to take some time with this too, it's available, right, Rebecca? It's available on YouTube or on the Wooten Center website. One of those places. I'm not so techie, all that stuff, but anyway, it is available.
It's on both. It's on our YouTube page and our Wooten Center website as well. Okay. The videos.
Okay.
And we will be uploading this video as well. It is a lot of information, and we apologize that we're squeezing it into an hour, but we know that we don't have all the time to do the deep dive, but those resources that you're sharing, sir, your slides have so much information in there. Putting it up for people to go back and look and kind of do a deeper dive is what we intend with our videos that we upload to our YouTube page and also to our website as well.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and this is not the end, right? Mr. Henderson is going to be joining us for the entire month of April talking about this topic, and definitely the things that we reviewed today will be brought up in a little bit more detail in future presentations as well. This is just the starting point, and I'm sure that as we kind of navigate through this series, more questions will come to mind. If you don't have any tonight, maybe stay tuned and join in with us on future presentations as well.
I will be in your dreams. You guys will about this stuff. Yes. Okay. Well, listen, guys, I so enjoyed presenting to you, and I'm available. If you know, to talk more about this, present to other groups if you think they could benefit from this. But you know, I know it's made a difference to so many children. My wife and I, Dr. Henderson, founded and operated a foster family agency for almost 30 years. And this has been given to hundreds of parents over the years, and it's really been proven to be successful over time. And, you know, oftentimes there's a saying that goes, trust the process, right? So that's what you really have to do. And it isn't rocket science, but what is it? It is affirmation and consistency. So just, if we can just get past I thought there was clutter back then. My goodness, the clutter now. So just kind of move past the clutter and go back to what makes sense, right? Children want structure. They are starving for structure because with the tech now, things are so unstructured. They are left to at 6, 7, 8 years old with their phones or whatever, having to decide, make decisions that they are just not capable of making. They are frightened, but can't tell anybody. They don't know how to express that. So what we do as parents is we have our family meetings, providing them that extra layer of security to just breathe as regular children and be regular children as well. So I am done. I wish everybody a wonderful evening. Michelle McLean is there about the one-shot vaccine on SLOS. Yes, I will absolutely get that flyer information to Rebecca as soon as we're off the call.
Michael.
Yes.
Yes.
If you are interested in that information, in addition to the vaccine, also, if you want any follow-up information, there was a post, Mr. Henderson, in there about learning more about foster care parenting. If you're interested, please put your full name and your email in the chat, and I will send over those links that our wonderful speaker provided to you all, and that information with regards to the vaccine. If you are interested, just go ahead and put your email in the chat. If you haven't put your full name for our virtual sign-in in the chat, if you could also please do that too. Thank you, Miss Yolanda, for doing that. And we will send you that information. Anyone else, please do that. And we'll be here next week. We'll be here next week, same time, same place. Please log on. Go
Rebecca,
ahead,
I have to say this.
Yes.
Folks of my generation, it was the same bat time, same bat station. We're around.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
We're right there. So yeah.
Have a wonderful evening, and we hopefully will meet again.
Thank you so much. See you all next week. Please join us again for another night of Henderson tips and tricks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Lizette.